Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. We are almost at Friday. Thank you, Jesus. So, now, today, I wanted to focus on my sole purpose of this show. This show was created because I myself, I have anxiety disorder, and I was diagnosed at the age of 16. So I wanted to do whatever I could to help people to overcome it. So now I'm at a place and you know time where I understand my triggers, and I pretty much know and can tell ways to calm myself down, and I use different methods of really bringing myself to the present moment and awareness. I do remember when I was going through, it was very, very tough. I hid a lot of things, and, I was embarrassed to come out with my journey because nobody else that I knew of was going through everything or going through what I went through. So, I just want to talk about people who deal with mental illness, especially with, the pandemic and COVID. Um, I have been talking to a lot of people who deal with stuff like this, and you wouldn't believe the type of anxiety that is out here. Like, I've talked to people who have anxiety when it comes to medical anxiety, which means that they have a fear of doctors. And I can understand that too. I've talked to people who have COVID anxiety, and I also dealt with that as well in the beginning of the pandemic, where I was very nervous to be in crowds, or I got scared when people would cough or sneeze. So, um, I just want to kind of talk and make people aware who don't really understand mental illness and how it works, to kind of be sensitive to people that do have it. One symptom that I'm going to point out to you is the highs and lows of a person's personality. That's like a very main symptom of a person being bipolar or schizophrenic. So, most of the time, it's looked at to other people that suffer with mental illness, they're moody or they're weird acting. Like, one minute they're lukewarm. Like, one minute they'll talk to you, the next they just fall off the face of the earth. Um this is a journey that is so tough. Sometimes you have your good days, and sometimes you have the most horrible days where you don't want to get out of bed, where you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't know how to express yourself. Because, see, with mental illness, this is a journey that it can overtake your whole emotions. It's a chemical imbalance. And I wish more people understood that. It's truly a chemical imbalance. Like, most people, they can turn stuff off. With mental illness, sometimes you can't turn it off. It's just, you just have to let it flow. And you have to take space from the outside world. So, all of us that deal with this, we know there's sometimes you don't want to talk to people. Like, I don't care if we were so talkative yesterday. I don't care if we came to you and we spilled everything. We were happy. We were so emotional and ecstatic. The next day, you may feel a totally different way. You may feel just really, really sad, really overwhelmed. And for me, I've learned to just let my emotions take the course, and to really just feel feel and be in the present moment. And sometimes you may have to, like I said, journal it out, pray, whatever works for you to get your emotions back to the place that feel normal. But sometimes people who don't deal with what we deal with, they look at it differently. So I would like to encourage people who don't deal with mental illness to have a heart and kind of look at the symptoms, like I said, of the major extreme mood swings and the moodiness of a person. Um, Also, another thing, I mean, because everyone's different with anxiety, anxiety disorder is characterized as something where you have a fear. You have a fear of just whatever your fear is. And then you over worry, you overthink, and it causes you to have certain reactions. So when I was really in the beginning stages, like when I was younger, like a teenager, um, my anxiety turned into panic disorder as well. I had anxiety attacks and panic disorder. So I just remember when I was about 16 years old, I went to a friend's house and I ate a burger. And I just remember, I guess the burger wasn't digesting well with my body. And I remember having like a chest pain. And I just remember feeling like, okay, am I having a heart attack? I felt like I was having a heart attack. My mind just wouldn't let go of the thought, like, okay, there's something burning in your chest, you're having a heart attack. And that's basically what anxiety is. So I just remember like panting for breath, having shallow breathing, sweating. My heart was beating extremely fast. I was very scared because I had really I was overthinking about it, just overthinking to a point where I literally was making myself believe that I had a heart attack. And that's what anxiety is. You're just thinking and thinking and overthinking about one thing, and it turns into something else. So yeah, I was just sitting there. My heart was beating fast. I was just feeling like I couldn't breathe. And my mom was in the car, my grandmother. My mom was telling me to just breathe in and breathe out and calm down. Well, that was back, like I said, when I didn't really know or understand. And I was going to the doctor. I thought it was my stomach. And they were literally telling me, no, you have anxiety disorder and you have panic attacks. That was a panic attack that you were having. So I mean, I'm just giving you an example of kind of like what each person goes through with mental illness. I no longer have panic attacks. Like, I've literally gotten to a point where I feel like God has saved me, and He has. So, because He has, I want to help other people. Because I've been hearing about so many people during the pandemic who literally have been committing suicide because they don't have anyone to talk to. And if you ever feel that way, you can inbox me, you can DM me, and you can talk to me. Um, there are plenty of hotlines. There's the suicide hotline if you ever feel like, hopeless, worthless, or you don't want to live another day through this. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling of just feeling like no one understands you. You feel just helpless. But I'm telling you, there are resources out here. And it's not the end of the world. There is a brighter day. And you just have to keep going and you have to keep pushing. So that's one symptom, like I was saying. There's mood swings. And then with my particular disorder, those are the symptoms that I was having. Also, with people that deal with mental illness, please don't taunt them. Please don't, laugh at their faces when they're opening up to you. It's very, very hard to get someone with mental illness to open up to you because it's not something that we do. A lot of us are shameful or we're embarrassed by it because most of the time when we're really, really, really into our symptoms, and I'm sorry, this is hard for me to talk about or to open up about, but I'm doing it. When we're really deep in our symptoms, it's like we feel embarrassed after. There are times when life really overwhelms me, and I'm starting to realize when I have too much on my plate and when life overwhelms me, that is usually when I have higher anxiety. I have higher anxiety sometimes when I eat too much sugary foods or too much carbs. I also have high anxiety when I don't get enough rest. And I'm starting to figure out as I'm getting older the things that I can do to control it. And that's also, a tip for people who suffer with mental illness. You have to figure out, the easy ground. You have to figure out what you're doing to kind of make it come about. So, you have to kind of look at what you're eating, the practices that you're making, the people that you're around. So, back to what I was stating. When we open up to you, make sure it's to a person that's non-judgmental. You never want to be around a person who doesn't understand how this works. I've been in the church my whole life. I am a Christian. However, I do want to say this. Some of the worst people that I've opened up to concerning this and talking about this and really trying to just get help when I was trying to get help were church people. And a lot of the people in the church, in my opinion, are very religious. I don't think some of them worship God for real. They're worshiping the religion. So for me, a lot of them would come to me. I would open up and I would like need prayer. And I'm like, I need prayer. I don't know how to get these thoughts out of my head. I don't know how to stop overthinking. I don't know how to stop worrying. I'm constantly worrying. I'm constantly anxious. Da 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 da. And I had one person that seriously chuckled like, well, things like that happen to people who don't really pray or who aren't close to God. So, you just need to pray more. And I was sitting back thinking, that's all that I do is read my Bible and I pray. But excuse me? So, my mission to you is to not talk to everybody about this. Ask God to lead you to the right person who's going to understand and not be so judgmental. Because for me, when I'm going through anxiety or when I have an anxiety attack or when I just feel really, really anxious, the number one thing that I do not want is someone to tell me how to fix it. Because if that were the case, zap, it would be gone. But I just want someone to just, listen, someone to hear me. That's why, I stopped really going to a lot of people. And if I do go to a lot of people, it's very, very few. I stopped going to a lot of people and I started going to licensed professionals. Therapy has changed my life. So therapy with prayer and understanding my triggers, like I said, and when I say my triggers are meaning what brings about my anxiety, has helped me tremendously. And you just have to, that's another thing, you have to be careful who you talk to. And as a person who is dealing with people with mental illness, just have a heart, be empathetic. People are empathetic towards people who have physical illnesses every day because you can see them. Just think about it like this. With mental illness, this is an illness that you cannot see. They write people like, people who have mental illness, they write them off. Stop doing that. So when someone is literally opening up to you, they're telling you, I feel depressed, don't come down their throat, and just say, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. If that were the case, they would have done it and they would have already, not come to you. Have empathy. And, I always try to tell people to breathe. Because sometimes we need to be reminded to just breathe. Breathe and relax. This too shall pass. Try to give them positive words of wisdom. Try to send them positive affirmations. And there have been people in my life that do that. And I thank you because through some of my darkest days, you just don't understand how sometimes positive affirmations and just seeing something positive really changed my mood. Just try to be there for these people. Try to understand, what they're going through. But what you don't want to do is try to fix it or try to judge them and be like, oh, well, you should have such and such and such. You should have did this or you should have did that. Or you wouldn't have been going through this. That is the wrong thing to do. That is the worst thing that you can do. And oftentimes I actually, vibe and I understand people with mental illness and we talk a lot about a lot of things. So we understand each other. It's a community. So that is one thing. And another thing is, because I'm letting you know this because, like I said, there's so many people during the pandemic who have been suicidal or who have committed suicide that I've known of. And it's very sad. And it's always the people saying the same thing. Why didn't they tell me? Why didn't I know? Like, I wish I would have been able to be there. Well, let's start here. Some of you don't have a spirit to talk to. Some of you don't have that type of spirit where you have sympathy, where you're empathetic, where you care. Some of you don't even pick up the phone. A lot of you don't pick up the phone. A lot of you don't care. And even when that person is opening up, I'll call you back. Oh, I have something to do. I'm busy. But then when that person commits suicide, I just can't believe they did that. So I'm speaking for people that I know that have been dealing with this kind of stuff, or I've seen, like I said, that kind of stuff happen. I just can't understand. And I think it's really sad that this is an illness where people, they just don't want to talk about it. They don't care until something bad happens. So I would like to charge people where if you haven't heard from someone in a while and they're on your mind, reach out to them, because that's, the times where I try to reach out to people. You don't know what people are going through. And it's always the strong person, or the person that you look at and they look really strong. Oh, they got it. They're okay. You don't know what they're going through for real, because everyone doesn't open up and tell their business. Everyone isn't transparent. So try to reach out to them and make sure that they're okay. And listen to them. Don't talk over them. Just literally listen to what they're going through. And don't try to insert your own problems into the conversation. For instance, if someone's telling you, I've just been feeling so sad, I've been feeling down, I've been feeling depressed, I don't know how to go on. And then you come and interject, well, yeah, girl, my friend, she's been feeling it. That's their moment. Give them their moment. Let them speak. Let them talk. Listen. Become empathetic. And do check-ins with that person. Because, everyone is going through something. However, it's like, if you really want to be serious about helping people who are really going through mentally, just be strategic and be their friend. Listen to them. Just try to give them as much wise counsel, and positive affirmations that you can. Let them know that they are loved, that they are cherished. And like I said, it's the little things along the way. It's the text messages saying, I'm thinking about you. I hope that things get better. Sending a Bible verse, sending daily affirmations, just letting them know that they're loved. Even a coloring book. I can't tell you how many times, I'm not going to name names, but I can't tell you how many times sending a coloring book has helped me along the way. Sending a card has helped me along the way. And I'm just so grateful for people like that. And that does help people that deal with mental illness. But just be sensitive to them. And the worst thing that you can do is call someone crazy. Don't ever do that, because it's just not a good feeling. It's the equivalent of calling somebody, who has dwarfism a midget. It's the same with mental illness. You don't like that. You don't like that label. I don't like that label. There's some people I've opened up to and they're like, oh yeah, you crazy. You're this. No, I don't like that. So, and as a person who, has suffered with mental illness and still has some of my, light symptoms every now and then, I want to let people know who suffer with depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, you name it. Be careful of who you do open up to. You can't open up to everyone. You just have to have discernment. You have to be able to tell who's really in your corner and who isn't. So just be mindful of who you talk to. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, like I said, make sure that you talk to a therapist. And yeah, just once again, be mindful. Say a prayer for everyone dealing with mental illness, and be very careful what you speak over them. Especially in days like this, there's more and more people being diagnosed with mental illness than ever because of the world that we're in, and it's constantly moving. There's always something going on. So have a heart for people. You never know what they're going through. Try to make it, you know, really where you are trying to be kind, or be kind to people, and make sure that it's intentional, and don't just say, whatever, and you don't mean it. Um, I'm praying for everyone dealing with mental illness, and I'm praying for the people who are caring for them as well. But yeah, this has been charged to my heart because I want to see more people become overcomers. I don't want to have to see another person commit suicide because they didn't have anyone to talk to, or they felt like people were going to judge them. Every time I see a story like that, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart so bad, because I know that I have people that I can talk to. And I know that if anyone out there is feeling that way, just know you can talk to me in confidentiality. I will not tell a living soul, because half of the stuff you're telling me, it's probably stuff I've dealt with myself. You could always DM me. You can always just talk to me openly. And I want to see everyone become overcomers and victorious and be able to tell their story to help someone else, because I think that everything we go through in life, that is the purpose and the reason. God bless you. Once again, make sure that you are kind to others. You never know what they're going through. God bless. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.